Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Kimberly Dinaro. Kimberly Dinaro, how the hell are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Yeah, thank you so much for coming in on this cold, cold day.
Of course.
And then where can people see you do stand-up comedy on stage in New York City, and where can they find you online?
So I produce 2 shows, one at the Lantern every third Wednesday of the month.
Was that Greenwich?
Yeah.
Okay.
And one at the Knitting Factory with Sally Ann Hall. She's my co-host.
Okay. And what kind of shows are these? Like, what kind of comics can people expect if they see these shows?
So the one at the Knitting Factory is called Left Breast Comedy. We book all women and non-binary comedians, and we also have drag.
Okay.
It's a really fun time.
And why the left breast instead of the right breast?
Because the left breast is closest to the heart.
Oh,
yes.
You guys are a bunch of softies.
Yeah.
It's sexual, but it's it's emotional.
We have a lot of heart, behind our title.
And I suppose the breast isn't even sexual. What am I saying? So I guess it's anatomical, but it's also close to your heart. And so those are the 2 shows you're producing, but you're also writing?
Yes,
okay.
And I write for some e-cards. I'm on their staff, and I freelance for Betches, too.
Yeah, Betches. So Betches is just a collection. Is it always female writers? Because it's comedic writing.
Yeah, there's a few men on the staff.
Okay.
I'm not on the core staff. I'm on the freelancers, so we usually don't interact with each other that much. But,
okay, and what kind of your bits or what kind of your comic writing is ending up on Betches?
I do their political stuff, so it's
Oh.
explaining the news to college kids.
And so, yeah, if I'm a college student, how are you spoon-feeding today's news to me?
I mean, most of the time it's very liberal, one-sided. if I'm in control of it. But.
And so, okay, because so are you trying to dumb it down? Like if you were to take the Green New Deal or something like that, how to make that funny?
Well, yeah, you're like, hey, girl, it's the Green New Deal. What's up?
Bunch of free stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's pretty much what it is.
And so your politics are on the left?
Yeah,
okay.
I would say that's pretty fair.
And is that stuff making its way into your act?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm doing a show in North Carolina or something, and they say don't do anti-Trump stuff, then I won't. But,
okay.
Most of my shows are in Brooklyn or in the Village.
So it's pretty safe. And I would think that so many comics are doing it though that you don't have the trouble of people getting pissed off, but you might have the trouble of other comics on the bill stepping on your same Trump jokes.
Yeah.
What is a Kimberly Dinaro Trump joke?
Oh boy, the pressure's on. You can't ask a comic to tell a joke like that.
But how can you make a Trump joke fresh?
I think it's more with any political joke. I think it's not really about bashing the supporters at all, because that's when people get kind of fiery.
Yeah.
It's more focusing on what's wrong specifically with Trump.
Yeah.
And
there's a couple things you could choose from.
Yeah, there's a few for sure.
It's almost better to be understated then, because you can't really exaggerate that guy.
Right.
Because everything he does is hilarious on its own, right?
Definitely. Yes.
And are you able to find any ridiculousness on the left? I would think that you might be able to bash, if you're a hardcore liberal, maybe you're bashing certain Biden things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the point is that everyone should be able to laugh at themselves, right?
Yeah.
So you can definitely make an anti-Trump joke that Trump supporters will find funny if you do it in the right way.
Yeah.
But it is hard. And yeah, there's plenty of things to make fun of the left for sure.
Okay. And then what in North Carolina, if you're not kind of, if politics are off, things that you should not talk about in North Carolina because you are liberal, what are the other things you're talking about in North Carolina that are relatable to everybody?
Just what are my non-political jokes?
Yeah, what else is making its way into a Kimberly Dinaro set? Not telling the jokes, but what subject matter? I know your day job is interesting.
Yeah, I complain about bartending a lot.
Okay, and what's to complain about? I mean, I would think that you would just make $80 million in tips. Is it not like that?
It is. I mean, sometimes it's like that.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
But there are definitely. I mean, the bar that I work at is mostly older, lonely men.
Oh no.
And there's a definite sexism involved in just, between the male bar, like my tweet that we were talking about earlier about male bartenders versus female bartenders. If you have a male bartender who has like suspenders and lavender bitters, everyone's like, oh my God, you must be a genius.
You're a mixologist, as you say.
Right, exactly.
But if you're a female,
it's like, hey, can you smile? Can you put a smile in that vodka soda? And it's like, oh my God.
And so in between taking their big tips, you have to deal with the sexism that's taking place. And a lot of that is age-based at a cigar bar.
Yeah, sometimes. Okay. I mean, it's not as bad as it definitely used to be, I'm sure. And no one is like grabbing asses and stuff. But
yeah. Are there better bartender situations out there for something like that? Like I know I work at WeWork, and a manager there went to work for The Wing, which I think is an all-female workspace.
Yeah.
And I think that was owned by WeWork at one point, although they recently spun it out. But is there kind of a female space where bartenders are just, get none of that sexism?
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
This is the only bartending job I've ever had. I've been there for 5.5 years.
Oh, okay.
So I do really love it.
You're an institution by now.
Yeah,
if Kimberly Dinaro was not there, they'd be like, where the hell is Kimberly Dinaro and why am I coming to the cigar bar?
I hope so.
Okay.
I would like to think that, but I think it would probably take about 3 days and they'd be like, maybe she died. I don't know. Who cares?
She trained somebody who's also good, who can also pour drinks.
I always say the thing about bartending is that no one would realize that you like set yourself on fire until they need another drink. Like, they would never, no one pays attention to you until they need another drink.
They'd be like, what's that fire over there? It's probably a flaming shot of some sort. And then that kind of stuff, the bartender-based experiences that you have, is that making its way into your stand-up act?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be a little, I try not to directly, say anything negative about my job because I still have it and I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
But, there are definitely, like one time I had to bartend for a bachelor party that was during the daytime and they boarded off the entire place and I was like, oh no.
What the hell happened?
And they ended up bringing in 2 little people strippers.
Oh no.
I know. And
this was at your cigar bar?
Yeah.
Somebody rented the space so that little people strippers could make a living.
Right. I mean, they seemed fine with it. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to, disparage their job if they're into it. But I was like, God, this is weird. And my boss was like, make sure no one throws them. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, that
it's
was
like
Wolf of Wall
Street
Street bit where they're like, is it okay to throw the little people?
No.
It's like, well, I mean, if it's in the contract, as a former lawyer, man, you can put a lot of cool things in a contract, sure. And then are there certain things about bartending that you enjoy that make you good at being a stand-up comic? Like, do you add... are you telling jokes on the job? I mean, are you making people, happy with each drink and every experience? And that's kind of also why you enjoy stand-up, because you want people to leave better, in a better mood than when they came. I
think that there is a certain element of bartending and maybe stand-up that you sort of have to put on a different persona. So I think for a while, I tried to be an alter ego bartending, which was Tracy from Miami. And she's just so happy to be here.
Oh,
she just loves everyone and everything.
And did you keep that up sincerely for a while?
For a while, yeah, because I got a bad Yelp review. And instead of like dealing with it like a rational adult, I deal with it by being very passive-aggressive, like over-the-top, crazy.
That is a funny joke. So is even that story, the fact that a bad Yelp review led you to create, what's her name, Tracy from Miami?
Tracy from Miami, yeah.
I mean, do you tell a joke about how that happened? Like the fact, because I also like that you were honest in that you didn't deal with the Yelp review perfectly. Like, well, I guess it was still creative and constructive, but it's like I abandoned that alter ego pretty quickly, which means maybe I should have dealt with this Yelp review in a little bit more of a healthy fashion.
Well, I think the people who leave negative Yelp reviews will all go to hell. Like, yeah. I don't think there's any situation in that leaving a bad review is appropriate.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're leaving a review for the establishment. You're just ruining someone's day.
Did they single out Kimberly Dinaro?
Yes, they.
What did they say? Are you able to say what they said with
it? Was like,
it's probably hilarious. You probably make 15 hilarious jokes about it. So you made lemonade out of lemons.
It was all about my attitude, that I wasn't happy enough to see them, that I didn't go overboard to smile out of my tits or whatever the fuck.
It's a cigar bar.
Yeah.
I almost think there should be a little bit of I don't know, just a professional, somber. Like if I walk into a cigar bar, it's not going to be Tracy from Miami who's going to be greeting me.
Well,
that would be bizarre. It's not like we're in Times Square. We're not at Bubba Gump Shrimp or something.
Exactly, though. But that's the difference, because the male bartenders would never have gotten that review because they just sit there stoic. Sometimes they don't even look up from their phones when people come in. But I have to, do a huge cartwheel into a hug and set streamers out of my ass for their Sprite and vodka.
And is there anything else that, you would think that pouring a fucking beverage shouldn't mean that you have to do all those other things. Like, is the lack of smile preventing me from pouring a fucking drink? Not at all.
Yeah, it's weird what people expect from servers, because if you get into, like, most people that I know, when they get into a cab or an Uber or something, if the driver starts talking to them, they're like, oh my God, please stop.
Yeah.
But, the second someone sits down and they're alone at the cigar bar, especially because it's a lot of people alone, they want my entire life story. It's very weird that, like, I owe them that just because I'm giving them a drink.
Yeah.
So I've started making things up. But
so do you have a sanitized, scrubbed down version of your former life?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what the problem is, when I'm honest about it, they'll be like, where are you from? Where'd you go to school? And I'll be like, I went to NYU. I studied writing. And they'll be like, oh, well, I guess that didn't work out.
Oh, no.
And it's so weird that people assume that just because you're bartending that you must not be doing anything else.
No,
you just live there.
No, you're writing for betches. You're getting your stuff out there.
I mean, I technically have 4 jobs. So
good,
I'm only there 2 nights a week, and it's very odd. So that people are like, oh, well, I guess you're just bartending forever then. And what else do you want? You're going to go to law school? And I'm like, no.
It's like I do stand up and I write sweet comedy. And is there any other part of, do you find that experience to happen in non-bar situations where women are treated differently from men? Like, where are you? And I guess you're Brooklyn. And so are you, it probably might not happen as much in Brooklyn, but where are you noticing sexism elsewhere? If at all.
I think there are things that I probably didn't notice about it. Like, I thought just because they allowed a woman to bartend that I was like, okay, cool, sexism doesn't exist anymore. But, I have noticed it a little bit in comedy. I don't think I've ever, like, directly felt it, but I've seen, mostly not within, like, comic to comic so much.
Right.
But, like, when I tell people I do stand up and they've never seen me do anything or never seen me in a social situation, they're just like, oh, well, why don't you just want to be an actress or something?
Yeah.
Like, especially older people, like my family members and stuff, they'll be like, wow, stand up? Can you be funny?
Yeah, and I guess
you're blonde.
Yeah, so as a blonde who's doing well as a bartender in New York City, why have you chosen New York City as a stand-up capital rather than something like LA? Because LA is, of course, awful, but certain people want to move there for certain opportunities, right?
I moved to New York for college,
okay.
So I've lived here since I was 18.
Yeah, NYU.
Yeah. And I never left. So I think that if I'd gone to college in more of like a college town, I probably never would have moved to New York. I don't know. So now I'm just kind of like, well, I'm here, and I stayed.
Yeah, and you like it here, so I mean, it's kind of a benefit that there's also a lot of comic opportunities here.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. But every time I go to LA, I do. My friends who live there are like, Kim, please do not come. It's the worst. You'll hate it. And I'm like, but poor people have pools there. Yeah. Why can't I live in a place with a pool and palm trees and sunshine?
And why do they say it's the worst? Because it's strip malls separated by traffic?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. I mean, that's all I'm getting from these documentaries. It's like, I really think it's just strip malls separated by traffic. And then you watch that Jonathan Gold documentary that's in LA, that food critic guy. And that's all it is. It's him sitting in traffic and talking about the strip malls that he likes their faux in or whatever
it is. Seriously. I mean, they complain about the traffic. They complain about how it's like, if you have a friend, like if we live in Brooklyn, a friend that lives in Harlem, it's like, okay, we probably won't see each other that much, but you'll still see each other enough.
Yeah.
And there it's like the neighborhoods are so far and spread out and separated that you might as well just be in another state if you live in a different neighborhood.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're moving to Echo Park. I see you never, right? And so if people want to see you talk about this and all other hilarious things, they're going to look on Betches, but also they're going to go to the Kimber. Are you the Kimber D on Twitter? I know I follow you.
It's KIMBERRD, like Kimbird. Okay. I need to change it.
Okay.
Just change it to my full name.
And then other social platforms, are you also KIMBERRD?
My Twitter is Kimberdin.
Okay. DIN.
Yeah.
Okay. And the shows that are coming up, Left Breast, is that the one at the Lantern or no?
Left Breast, first Monday of the month at the Knitting Factory at 8 o'clock.
And that's Brooklyn?
Yep, in Williamsburg.
Oh, cool.
And
that's a nice location for comedy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's really fun. And then the Lantern is every third Wednesday of the month at 8. It's called Sugar Babies.
Sugar Babies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when you're organizing these shows and booking these shows, are you always hosting or are you giving yourself a spot?
Sally Ann and I co-host Left Breast, and then we alternate for the Lantern show.
Okay, so we are going to see Kimberly Dinaro at some of these shows.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we're on all of them.
Oh,
we make ourselves very obviously a part of it. We interject all the time.
Oh, good.
Do songs and stuff.
Oh, do you? You're singing as part of your act?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been trying to do a lot more musical comedy this year, so I'm trying to put together 1 hour that's like half stand-up and half songs, because I'm a musical theater kid at heart,
Oh,
unfortunately.
good. And then why aren't you in L.A.? Just kidding.
I know,
But
right?
Kimberly Dinaro, and do you also have a Kimberly Dinaro website where we can kind of keep track of when your first one-person show is?
Yes.
Was it
That's
Kimberly
just
Dinaro?
KimberlyDinaro.com. Thank God.
That makes it easy. Kimberly Dinaro, thank you so much.
Thank you.